This is the Amp Hour Podcast, recorded May 23rd, 2011. Episode 44, Pernicious Projects, Puppies in Peril.
Welcome to the Amp Hour. I'm Dave Jones from the EEV blog.
And I'm Chris Gamble from Chris Gamble's Analog Life.
And hopefully you don't hear any echo.
Yeah, because you have acoustic panels now.
I have, professional.
Are you a professional now?
Professional, homemade acoustic
Is that what you're doing with
panels.
these hours these days?
That's it. I'm a professional radio announcer, and I have a professional recording studio with my
There you go.
massive $80 mic and my...
Watch out, Leo Laporte. Here comes
Yeah,
Dave.
exactly. Yes, I made my own acoustic panels. It took me a while because I had a few things on, so it sort of sat in the garage sort of half-finished for a while, which was really annoying. I couldn't get my car into the garage because I had these frames just scattered and all this acoustic material scattered all over my garage floor.
Yeah.
But, yes, I finished it. If you haven't seen the video, it's up on the site now, and it does make a difference. But you probably won't hear it here. It makes more of a... It's a very subtle thing, because I had the pillows before, as you know, and they worked fairly well, but it was just annoying getting the pillows, dragging the pillows in here every week and setting them up. And
Right, so now someone could sit on the couch and
exactly,
also
while I'm
you can
actually
record.
doing this,
Right.
And then the wife
waiting
doesn't
room.
complain.
There you go.
And they look pretty good too. So
Yeah, they
pretty
did.
happy
I like
with
them.
the result.
Yeah, nothing like a little decorative sound killing.
Yes. And we're back to our regular two-person show this week.
I know, it's weird. It
Seems like we haven't done this for ages. When was our last two-person show?
I don't know. I think, well, let's see. So last time was Jeff and Jeremy, and then I think it was before that, though.
Was it?
I think so, yeah.
I don't know. It just seems like a long time, that's all.
It does. We haven't had a chance to talk, huh, Dave? Just
That's
me and
right.
you. Mano a mano.
Which was
Mano
the
y
original
mano.
idea.
I know.
Because I thought a show with just me would be boring as batshit.
And I tried
Whereas
it, and
now
it
it's
was
twice
boring.
as boring.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You did try it, didn't you?
Oh, it was so bad. I go back and I listen to it, I'm just like, oh, it's so horrible. I'll put a link if people want to torture themselves.
Right.
Yuck.
Anyway.
Never again. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, the two-person show works much better.
Yep. So, what's been going on this week?
Busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Been
flat
watching-
out with shit,
Yeah. That's good. That's good.
which I can't
good thing
talk
to be
about.
busy.
So, yeah,
Right.
crazy. Anyway, you wanted to talk about an acronym.
I did. Yeah. So the Bay Area Maker Faire. So people have been hearing about this probably on Twitter and other places, and there's always that lag from when the event happens to when it actually occurs. And so I keep seeing this everywhere pop up, and it's BAMF. And I keep saying, BAMF, what is that? And I'm like, is that badass mother...
Beep.
And, and no, it's not. It's actually Bay Area Maker Faire. So I've been getting that wrong all week long. I've been thinking these people have been talking about like Mr. T or whoever used to say that.
I pity the fool.
That's good. There you go.
Love
yeah.
Mr. T, but I'm from the 80s, so I'm a child of the
Right.
80s. So,
Right.
yeah, I'm a huge fan.
That's good.
Young whippersnappers these days don't know who Mr.
I
T
know.
is, I'm sure.
Well, they had that remake of the A-Team, and that was just okay.
Yeah, I guess. I haven't even watched that. I couldn't bring myself to watch it, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, other than that, though, there's been the Hamvention was down in Dayton, Ohio. That's like one of the things.
That's a good term.
Yeah.
Like it.
Yeah. So that's a big ham convention, or as they call it, Hamvention. There's like this monstrous flea market. So I know a bunch of people that went to that. And I've been getting lots of comments actually from hams when I mentioned that I'm studying for the license. So that's been cool.
Excellent. There's actually a ham radio thing here. I think it's called the Wyong Field Day or something they call it, because it's up in Wyong, which is up on the north coast here in
cool.
Sydney. And I've never been to it. And they have a similar thing. They have like a flea market, sort of, junk stalls and people selling old gear and stuff like that. And I think I'll have to go one year.
Yeah, I think it'd be worthwhile. I mean, like, I had some friends at work that went, and just hearing about some of the stuff they they got. I mean, like, my one friend got a tube for his 1920s radio.
Nice.
I mean, like, he does that regularly, but just hearing about that, I mean, like, it was such like an obscure socket type and everything. And oh yeah, of course we have that. Why not? You know?
Yeah, I got one of those by Trunk here.
Yeah, right. So
Trunk. I mean, God, I'm using American terms.
The boot. The boot. Yeah. So it sounds like it was a fun time though. I don't know. I think field days are when they actually have like events and they just kind of take a radio out in the field and
and they do fox hunts and stuff like that. But I think they call it the Wyong Field Day here, but it's actually more of a, you know, just a flea market type. Yeah, they have stalls and things like that. So
yeah. Are there any kind of like electronics, like non-ham, like electronics flea markets out there?
No, nothing. No. There's nothing here in Sydney.
I've only heard of that in like California, I think. I'm not sure if people know of other ones. I'd love to hear about them, just because it seems like it'd be a really cool thing to go to. But I've only heard about them out in California, really. So
yep, same here. So I don't know. I'm sure there's some in other countries where there's a large, you know, tech population density, but you certainly don't get that here in Sydney. So unfortunately,
that's too bad.
It'd be great if we did, but it's pretty much the backwater.
You get
here
eBay, huh?
Yeah, eBay's pretty much it. And that's the problem. If you want to get gear and stuff like that, it's hard to get it here.
Yeah.
You know, you can't just, you know, there's not like 10 surplus dealers like there are in the US in the Bay Area. I'm sure there's, you know, a dozen of them. But here it's just hard to get that sort of stuff. So you've got to pay a fortune in shipping to get it shipped from the US.
That's too bad. Yeah, and big old
but
beefy
it's pretty good
Transformers
now that the US dollar's worth about
nothing.
10 cents Australian.
Yeah, there you go. Whatever works, man. Glad we could help you out, Dave.
No problem.
I've been slowly influencing it over the years just to help you out.
Yeah, I just sit here going, crash, come on.
Oh, God.
Come on,
I need more test equipment.
Exactly. All right,
wow.
What have we got this week?
I have no idea. No idea what we got going on this week.
I haven't looked at the list, so it's got to be a balls up.
Let's see. How about some micro stuff? We haven't talked about micros. Well, I guess we did talk about it last week.
We did, and people complained, and there's
did get that
word which shall not be mentioned this week.
Yes.
We'll do our best. But
one thing someone suggested to me, there was an IEEE robot newsletter that went out, and I got it too. It was actually pretty cool.
Right.
And so there... Oh, shootski. So there was a couple things. The first thing is they talked about like a home-based, low-cost, quote-unquote, personalized robot. So it's about $3,000, and it's called Luna.
Low cost, yep.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really...
you know, it's getting down there.
Yeah, I mean, it is pretty big, too, I mean, for what the size of it is.
Right, yeah.
So, they say it's fully programmable, but, you know... It's interesting because it's like a humanoid factor, like a face for a screen for a face rather, but it doesn't look like it does much else other than kind of like walk around and follow you. And honestly, it looks like an air filter with a big screen on the top.
Air filter.
Yeah.
Where is this? I've got to take a look at this. Is there a link here?
There is a link further down. So on our list, our secretive list, it's number 28. People are probably
28.
Sitting at home right now.
Yeah, there we
I
go.
wish I could see that list. Yeah. Yeah, so it's interesting. It's it's cool that they're making it programmable. And
is it open source?
I don't think it is. I don't think the hardware is open source, but it actually looks a lot more like a computer spec.
Yeah,
it says open source software, so people like Willow Garage, who's a big robot group, they can work on it. But I don't think the hardware is open. But I'm not sure if it would matter as much.
You're right. That is an air filter.
It looks like
it. It looks like a portable air conditioner.
Yeah,
and of course, they've got a photo of a chick standing next to it,
staring
of course,
at it,
rather than some nerd,
Well, yeah.
Chicks can be nerds too, of course, but
of course, yeah, equal opportunity nerdiness.
Right.
It's got these two wimpy little arms, and it doesn't look like it does much.
I know. They just
they show it with they show it with a tray.
Aluminium.
There's a couple different pictures of it with a tray, and it's like holding two solo cups, like the red solo cups for. So I don't know about that, but it's a good start. I mean, that's cool. I mean, like robots, and I don't think they're gonna get a lot of traction in the home, but not bad.
I can see what they've tried to do there. They've probably tried to go with the alien type look, because it's kind of like the ET kind of thing,
friendly, or like Wall-E.
Right. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it would grow on you, the look. I don't know. So doesn't seem like it can do much except follow you around, and it's got a big screen for the face.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So that's a touch screen, presumably.
I know. And if it's supposed to be humanoid, it's like, would you touch your friend's face?
A face. You go up and
in
poke
order
it in
to
the face.
control him? Hey, you, go over there. I'm going to poke you in the face. Face.
Maybe it's all gesture-based, So,
yeah. They're talking
about... you could probably have somebody's human face on there, right? Because it's a screen. You could,
like telepresence and all that other junk.
Yeah, probably a telepresence kind of thing.
I don't know. Yeah. They were showing one of those off at ESC, and it's cool, right? I mean, it's cool because of the network, because you need a lot of bandwidth to get the video through and everything. That's cool, and the control is cool. But the actual form factor, I mean, I don't know. Science fiction has just got my hopes so high, and this
I know.
This makes R2-D2 look like a porn star. I mean, like...
Right. Yeah, very true.
It's...
I don't know. Would you want one of these following you around your house? I don't...
Well, it's not going up the stairs, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, exactly. It's...
Adjustable.
It wouldn't even get up a single step, so it'd it couldn't even go out the front door in my place.
No, me neither.
Yeah.
You could fall out the front door. But again, I mean...
Faceplant.
That would be a fun, like blooper reel that you'd see.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, I don't know. These things have a lot to go. I mean, they had these back in I'm not kidding, they had them in the 80s. You could buy them from Radio Shack. These little... these little portable personal robots. They were going, the future's here. You can have your own personal robot. And it had an FM radio built in and and a cassette player, I think. And
with real transistor action.
I love it.
Yeah.
Anyway, they've got a long way to go. They're just a gimmick, really, I think. Anyway, I guess if you got $3,000 to spend, then they could be fun to program and hack around with. And I don't know. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, so there was another robot thing that I thought was interesting, too. They're promoting, like, a Robo Games. And actually, the Robo Games already happened for 2011, I believe. But they're talking... It's kind of like... do you ever used to watch BattleBots?
We never used to get that here, no. I've never watched it.
But
I know about I've seen bits of it, so I know what happens, yeah.
Yeah. And they still do it. I mean, like, I think this is kind of like a continuation, except not as televised. BattleBots is a big deal,
Yeah, apparently. It's got its own network TV show, doesn't it? Is it?
Well, it used to,
it's a series, isn't it, when it comes on or something? I don't know.
It used to be. I haven't seen it in years, so.
Right.
It was always great, though. I mean, although some of the stuff, the Wedge always seemed to win. Stupid Wedge.
The way so it just flies under the other one and flips it over, doesn't it?
It flips it over, and it just totally incapacitates it.
Yep. Okay. So everyone else needs to design one of these robots with these arms that can just flip itself back up. Is that the...
Oh, yeah, that's a good call.
Yeah.
Or, like, have a reversible one. Yeah, I think that's how they eventually beat them. But, yeah, it was always cool when it was on, but, yeah, I don't know. But I think they're pushing it, too, as like, a competition for kids. Not necessarily, like, first, but like hey, cool, get into robotics kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, it's better than nothing.
It's probably the coolest implementation of engineering and electronics possible, right? Surely.
Yeah, definitely.
Can anyone think of anything better that kids would find cooler? I don't know. Maybe tricopters or something like that, or
fire breathing
quadcopter, or
yeah,
but yeah, which you could say is a robot kind of thing, right?
Yeah, destruction always gets the crowds going, right?
Yeah, blowing shit up. But yeah, I think robots are cool. So
Well, that's good. Yeah.
Any way to get the kids involved, right?
Yeah, I know. Well, I guess I was contrasting it with like First, and I am a very big fan of First Robotics. If people don't know what that is, that's Dean Kamen's charity, I guess it is.
Yeah, we've talked about it on here before. I had only first heard of it like a year ago or something.
Oh, okay.
I hadn't heard of it because it's not big in Australia. Well, it might be, but I'm not involved with schools, so.
Right.
Yeah, I've got no clue.
And I think it is international, but I don't know enough about it to say about Australia. So
no, there are definitely schools here that do it. I've actually seen some of them. I've met some of them.
Okay.
Now that I know about it. But before that, I had no clue. So it may have been happening here for 20 years. I don't know.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just contrasting it with like that. I guess I'd probably pick First over, Robo Games as like a killer robot thing. But at the same time, like I don't know. Sometimes you have to be.
If you're a kid, which one are you going to like better?
Exactly. Yeah. Sometimes you have to be realistic that pop culture. You still have to have that entry point where you draw people in.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
Like how do you do that? I mean, for some people, it's science fiction, right? For some people, it's a mentor, or just parents that work on electronics or whatever else. It doesn't matter.
And for some girls, as we've discussed before, it might be the art aspect of interactive art or something. Like it or not, that might get them interested in engineering and electronics.
Or boys as well.
Boys, of course. There's many different areas you can get into.
And it's always about, having a multi-pronged approach like that, I think, is good. So saying one's better than the other is not really
you can't. Definitely can't say that. You need them all. Anything that gets people involved. Well, I guess there's limits to that, but let's not go there.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, that brings me to multimeters.
Do you like multimeters? Have you ever mentioned those before?
There's a rumor going around that I kind of find them fascinating. Yep.
Huh, that's weird. Okay.
Anyway, this is not new, but I thought I'd add it on here to see if anyone can beat this. One of the forum members, I've got to pronounce it correctly, which I won't. Excavatori is his username or handle.
Like excavator?
Excavator, yep.
That's probably what it is. Excavator EE, like electrical engineering, maybe?
Of course, right, yeah. All right.
But I see how you pronounced it. I totally agree with that pronunciation.
Right. All right. Anyway, he posted a photo. He posted a photo. This is quite some time back, and we'll link it on the show notes. Take a look at it. He got out his collection of multimeters and actually put them on the steps inside his house, the staircase. Yeah. And it goes all the way up the staircase, his collection of Fluke. They're just Fluke multimeters. And if you look at and he said he has 88 more that he didn't put in the photo.
What? Why? Did he say? I didn't see the thread yet, but did he say why?
Well, he came from some industry where they would just throw these out. They would give them a finite lifetime and then toss them out or something, some mining industry or something like that. Or he was in some industry where he managed to pick up all these Flukes and all in original cases and all sorts of stuff. So it's just absolutely amazing.
That is unreal.
This photo is just mind-boggling. It really is.
Oh, my God.
Can anyone beat that for a collection of multimeters, let alone a collection of just Flukes? So,
why? He should send that to Fluke. I bet they would love that.
Exactly.
Oh,
it's brilliant. I know, and it's worth a fortune. Some of those meters
if he's selling them off. I mean, is he technically
they're highly
considered
sought after on eBay?
Is he a hoarder? At this point? I mean, people will be able to tell.
Yeah, that constitutes hoarder. That's not collection. You would have one of each. If you were a collector, you'd have the best type of each. Or maybe he goes for serial numbers and look, I've got the lowest serial number in that model, manufactured out of that plant in. Some people get to that level. So, not on multimeters. Haven't heard people doing it on multimeters, but the people who collect scientific calculators, they collect. I'm a fan of calculators as well, and some of those guys are nuts. Some of the collections of calculators are just amazing. They must have the earliest serial number manufactured from that plant in, New Jersey or something. It's just crazy.
I really shouldn't speak against it. Have I ever told you what I collect, even though I definitely shouldn't?
Do tell.
I collect pianos, and it's just been this like increasingly horrible hobby. I collect them, but I'm not very good at playing them.
As in full-size pianos?
Well, I have so right
like
now I
grand
have
pianos.
No.
Right.
I have 6 pianos.
As in
6
keyboards.
Keyboards, sort of. So I have a 68 Wurlitzer, like upright. I have a MIDI programmer. That's like a fully weighted keyboard. I have an electric piano, which is like my favorite. That's a Wurlitzer 200. I have an organ down here. This is all in my basement too. So
well, you'll have to post a photo now.
Yeah, I'll try and pop some photos on there. But I don't know how it happened though. I'm not good at piano. I made the theme song, but it was not a good theme song. So I mean,
what you've got like half a dozen or something?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not a serious collection though. That's not a sickness yet.
You're right. It's not. But
no.
The worst part is I inherited the sickness from a friend.
Right.
So yeah, it's bad. It is a sickness. I understand it though. I mean, I guess.
Yeah, I can. If I had the space and didn't have a wife, yes, I'd be collecting hordes of shit.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have test equipment because you'd be like, that'll be worth something someday. I'd have test equipment
coming out my ass. Yeah.
Yeah. That's good to have that check to get rid of it once in a while.
Right. Anyway, so can anyone beat?
Yes.
That. If you do, take a photo of your multimeter collection and put it up there, please.
We should expand that to any kind of test equipment. Like, who needs that much stuff? I mean...
Sure, if you've got 100 scopes in your...
Or even just 100 total pieces. Even if they don't have to be the same... I mean, I remember Mike's from... Mike's Electric Stuff, the one who he posted on Workbench of the Week. And that was a crazy... I mean, but that was his lab.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
That was a sweet shot. That was a panorama.
Anyway, post your photos, please.
Yes.
And I wanted to talk about this week, because we can't mention the other name this week, because somebody said they'd kill a puppy if we did. Yeah. And we don't, when we love puppies, and we don't want any puppies to die. So I wanted to talk about it's new-ish. It's a single chip PIC basic interpreter microcomputer. And it's called the Maximite. And it was published in Silicon Chip magazine. And I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago, something like that. And Jeff is the guy's name. I'm not sure of his last name, I forget. But he has developed this. It's all open source too. And the good thing about it is that it really is, although you can buy the whole kit, which has the micro and a whole bunch of serial and parallel interfaces and SD card and all that sort of stuff. But it really is a single chip solution. So you can, just like the thing that shall not be named, you can just program the chip and put it into your product, and you can program it in a form of good old BASIC. So I just
who's programming in BASIC still?
Sorry?
Who's still programming in BASIC?
Well, I don't know. It's just another avenue. I
mean, granted, that was my first programming language.
I spent many years programming BASIC, and I think it's still a valid thing. If you don't want to get into C, if you find BASIC easier, if you've had experience in BASIC, then, well, why not continue with BASIC? There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, you're right. There's nothing wrong with it. I agree with that.
Except if you want to get into the industry, you can't put it on your resume and expect to go and get work in BASIC somewhere. But, to some people, that's not a big deal. They just want to do their own stuff, and that's fine. So, anyway, I think it's pretty cool. He's open sourced it. He's got his own BASIC interpreter, which you can program into presumably any 32-bit PIC. I'm not sure of which ones it actually fits into, how big the kernel is and all that sort of stuff. But it uses a 32-bit PIC micro, and it's got 128K of working memory, and even after the BASIC interpreter's in there, and I just think it's neat. And he's going to all the effort to open source it and everything. So, and this kit's available. Yeah.
And he's got a whole story about it too on the website, so that's pretty cool.
Yes. Yeah, I like it. Really like it. So, and there's nothing new there. I mean, the original PIC basic stamp is the original introduction to the easy introduction to microcontrollers, and that I think you can still buy it, can't you? The basic Stamp?
Basic stamp, was that Parallax or no?
That was Parallax, that's how they started, with the basic stamp, I think.
Yeah.
So
I think they still sell it. Although their big thing is the propeller chip now, which I don't know if you saw that they actually started selling that on its own now. So not just
they
in boards.
spun it off. Did they spin off part of the company or something? They spun off the manufacturing arm.
Yeah.
Just to make it look more professional,
Yeah, so people will buy the chip by itself for putting in products.
Exactly. So they're like an independent manufacturer. Like, here's us, we just make this chip, and we don't make hobby kits. Trust us, we're a professional company, and we manufacture a professional. That's an excellent move. Because a lot of people in the industry, they go, I'm not going to buy a chip from a hobbyist maker. I'm not going to build that into my product. That's a huge risk.
How is my supply chain affected by that hobbyist company? I can't deal with that. I need a large industrial company to deal with.
Exactly. Whereas if they spin it off, call it. I don't think they've called themselves something else, have they? I think they're still using the same name.
I'll have to check.
But I think that's an excellent move, because that's the only way they can gain traction in the professional industry, really.
Yeah.
So anyway, and can you buy it at Mouser and DigiKey? That's a big question. I don't know.
Yeah, that is still a big deal, right? I mean,
that's a big deal. Yep.
Yeah. Did we talk about that on here, or is that someone else talking about it?
Oh, no, we've talked about it many times on here, I'm sure.
Yeah. Okay. I thought I remember someone else talking about it in the industry, too.
No, I've ranted, because you see all these startups, like Touchstone Semiconductor we talked about the other week, and we probably want to mention them again, because they've changed their rules. Anyway, I don't understand any startup company who comes out with their new chip and doesn't immediately make available on Mouser and DigiKey. It's like suicide to do that, or not
necessarily.
To do that.
I mean, it's not smart. I think it's smart to get on the biggest ones, but I'm sure there's a lot of cost to get listed. And then they'll use some
obscure distributor you've never heard of, and it's like, no, that's too hard. I'm not going to design your part in, because I can't get small volumes to do my prototype runs.
Well, a single source still is always a big deal. I mean, but that's any kind of custom chip, or not custom, but specialized chip like that. So that's got its own boatload of issues, right? I mean, distribution is a big deal, though, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
yes, it definitely is. And so if you're a startup out there, make sure you get your chip on Mouser and DigiKey. Otherwise, we're not going to design it in.
That's
Trust
right.
me.
Yeah, if it can't get the prototype, no one's putting it in their final design. That's for sure. So
anyway, I think this kit's a really good idea, and it's like a little reboot of Basic. I kind of like it, No pun intended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I keep seeing your story. Whenever you pull something on a silicon chip, I keep telling myself I got to get that magazine,
right?
And because there's a couple out there. I mean, like Silicon Chip still does project-based stuff like that, right? And,
yep.
And
they're the only magazine, as far as I'm aware of, that have their own in-house team who actually design projects and kits. All the others get external people to submit stuff. So as far as I know, if you're aware of another magazine out there that actually has their own in-house staff to actually design kits, then let me know, because I'm not aware of one.
Yeah. So what about this Touchstone thing? We should probably mention that.
Yeah. Where's the link to it again?
And then up further. Anyways, so Touchstone, they heard our complaining, basically. That's what I've come to call our show, the big old complaining. But about the rules, so they didn't, they said, oh, well, if you design something, it belongs to us, and also they had the voltage range is wrong, and the current usage that you could have wrong. And so they went back and they touched up those, and I'm not sure what they listed it now. I think they might have said you get 30 microamps instead of the 6 that the part supposedly uses.
Okay.
So it's 5 times, which isn't much still.
But the whole idea is a low power solution. I think that's not too bad.
Yeah.
So, and my advice to them was to make a stipulation that all entries must be open sourced. And they did that, did they?
Well, they did.
Right.
And someone actually, I forget who it was, sorry, someone mentioned it on the site. And then, like, about an hour or two later, they're like, I must be seeing things because it's gone now. And I had clicked on it both times. And, yeah, so at one point it said, use the open source hardware license. And, I wrote an email to Phil Terone even. And I was like, Phil, someone is using this for a design contest. Isn't this cool? Because, Phil's all big into the doing of that. And,
of course.
And then I had to write it back. And I'm like, oh, they changed it. Never mind, man.
What a bunch of...
Well,
Touchstone, you idiots! What are you doing?
It's their. I talked to them about it, and they got. I think their lawyers got a hold of it, and basically, the thing that they were worried about, which I think is still a little out there, but they were worried that if someone, so say Dave, you were working for Dave Corp, the 1,000-person entity, right? And they were worried that if you had designed something for Dave Corp, right, and you didn't own the property, the intellectual property, and then you used it in this contest, and then they didn't claim it or something like that, or they didn't have this little clause that they put in as Rule 5, then they would not get sued by you, Dave Jones, but they would get sued by Dave Corp. And so I think that's a bit of a stretch, but...
It is! Stop worrying about this shit.
Oh,
really? It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
These lawyers are worthless. They really are. All they do is create fear, FUD.
FUD.
Fear, uncertainty, and doubt.
Yep, I agree.
Oh, man.
Yep, it's too bad.
Do stuff in good spirits and, in the spirit of... What am I saying? I don't know.
Good nature?
Good nature. Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah, just,
Yeah, it's too bad how it worked out at the end.
And just live with the consequences, because there won't be any.
All right.
For goodness sake. Idiots.
Yeah. Well,
anyway.
That's the corporate world.
Let's not advertise Touchstone anymore, huh?
Well, I still like them.
It's
nice they responded. You got to give them a couple points for that.
I'll give them that. I'll give them A for responding. But if you don't do it properly...
If you don't do exactly what we say, right, Dave?
That's right.
Yeah, the amp hour decree, huh? Yeah, I don't think that's really necessary. I mean, they're going to do what's best for them. I don't know if it's the best for a contest, but whatever,
Yep. It's just...
Good luck.
Anyway, not happy. Oh, boy.
Speaking of corporate thoughts, I wanted to I'll post the comic to this, but there's this really, I forget where I think it was somewhere on Twitter. There was this comic, this really simple web comic, kind of like XKCD or something like that.
Right.
And they're talking about the apocalypse, which we all lived through apparently, the other day.
Yes. Yeah, we're still here.
And how engineers would be fixing everything up during the apocalypse, and then you see the finance major afterwards and just saying, well, maybe by this point, since I gave all these suggestions, we should talk about executive compensation at this point, because I think I should be compensated. So everybody else is doing stuff. Yeah,
I love that cartoon.
I'll post a link to it. It's pretty great.
Yeah, it's funny. Oh man, yes, they're probably the most worthless people out there after Armageddon, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yep.
So speaking of big companies, did you see this article about Intel releasing a smartphone?
No, I didn't. Do tell.
They are great. I saw another thing from EE Times today. They had a newsletter go out. But I feel like Intel is just grasping at straws, They're so huge, but they're like, maybe desktops and everything won't be as big in a couple years. And so now they said next year Intel is going to have, I think, 10 smart Intel-based smartphones.
What?
Yeah.
Why 10?
Well, if I had to guess, it would be that a lot of their customers are in warm climates and they want some kind of heater for their pocket, because that's what I would think of with an Intel chip inside of it.
Right. Okay.
I know they have Atom chips and everything else, but Atom chips are just so wimpy. Like, at least all the products I've used. I know that they put, major OSs on.
But they try and do so much in them. They put an Atom chip in and then try and run...
like Windows 7 or something.
Full HD video on, render HD video and stuff like that. I mean, you try and do that on an ARM and it's not even going to boot up, let alone do it.
Right.
So I don't know. I thought the Atom chips killed the ARM ones in terms of sheer performance. Maybe not in in actual performance per power consumption, per watt kind of thing. But
yeah.
I thought the atoms were super powerful for their size anyway. I don't know. I could be completely wrong.
Maybe I'm just looking at it from the wrong angle, but I don't know. So, anyways, Intel's been going after the embedded market for a while. They've been poking at it from different angles. Yeah. But I just pulled up this newsletter. They said 4%. This EE Times thing said it's only 4% of their revenue or something like that. The rest is PCs and servers and everything else.
But they see it as the future, right?
Well,
and
I would tend to agree. I mean, unless you're making...
I don't disagree. They should be pouring a whole heap of resources and money into it. But it's weird. I don't know. The actual phones...
Yeah, I know. It's like
there's better companies out there. Are they actually going to do it in-house? Or are they just going to subcontract, HTC to do them
I don't know,
a phone or something and whack an Intel Atom in there?
All they have is the press release, and it says... Oh, I guess it's just Intel-based smartphones, but...
Right.
Man. I guess... If it's an Atom chip, that's one thing. Like that, I don't think that would be great. I mean, they're like 2-watt chips still. And, like, the sleep mode isn't as good on those things.
Well, maybe they can actually scale them back. I don't know. Has anyone used an Atom at 32 kilohertz? I don't know. Can you? Can you actually run the thing in a real ultra-low power mode? I don't know.
Like a sleep mode? Yeah.
Yeah, because a phone really doesn't need much power most of the time unless you're actually doing video-type stuff.
Or transmitting.
Just to operate the phone and actually do calls and texts and stuff like that. It really doesn't need to do much at all.
Well, no, because some of the transmitting stuff is high. It's in short pulses.
But that's done in chipsets. That's not done. That's done in the chipsets. It's not done in the actual micro itself.
I was thinking of the whole phone, yeah.
No, it's, so unless you're actually surfing the web or something like that, that's when it, or doing video, that's when it actually needs all that grunt to...
Yeah, I know mine heats up the most when I do like navigation. So I use like Google Maps and I'm trying to find my way somewhere. That's when my phone gets the hottest because that's real time or real processing intensive and rendering that video. And everything.
I know that with my HTC phone, everyone talks about the difference between the old model was 700 megahertz processing speed and this new phone's a gig. And they can really tell the performance difference and stuff like that. So I guess, when you're running... Well, I guess because the interfaces are all graphical these days, all the HTC Touch interface or whatever it's called and the iPhone interface and stuff like that, they're just graphically intensive to actually render all that stuff. And so, even if you just, actually typing in a phone number to dial, it's got to... do all fancy processing because it's got to put all the, it's got to put the touch overlay display on there and it's got to do all that sort of stuff and windows have to shrink and expand and be all fancy looking. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's something to be said for a phone that just has buttons and numbers on it and a monochrome LCD screen.
The old man, he pops his head out.
Yep.
Hey, you kids, get off my lawn.
But seriously, I do it every time. Every time I take the wife's old phone, right, which is a Nokia, 6300 or something. Yeah. And, no, it's tiny, right? It's much smaller than the smartphones these days. Not a brick. It's ultra tiny. And it gets 3 weeks battery life or something. It's incredible. And you just use it and you go, well, shit, this just works.
Well, it's just a phone, though.
I know. It's just a phone. But it's just, if you want to make a call or send it, it's just so easy. It just works.
That's true.
Oh, man.
But how will you respond to all your feedback online, Dave?
Well, I know.
That's what you have the smartphone for, right?
Yeah, so that's why I succumbed and I got a HTC Desire.
That's why I justified it as that. That's such a load of crap. Yeah. I sit at a computer so often anyways, I could just,
Same, yep.
Yeah.
Same here. It doesn't make any difference. I'm in front of a computer 15 hours a day, so, I know. Yeah. But for some reason, I talked myself into getting one. And
I know. And now you're never going to go back, just like me.
Yeah, I know.
That's
because
the worst
I know
part.
if I do need the internet functionality while I'm out on the road somewhere, then it's invaluable and I'll miss it. And yeah, I'll kick myself for not having a smartphone. And I don't know.
So speaking of the smart or computers out on the road. Have you seen the thing with the Google driving and everything like that? They're
trying to
autopilot?
get the car. They're actually trying to get a car certified in a state in the US, are they?
They are trying to get Nevada. I don't know why they went with Nevada. I guess because they...
Lots of open space, flat, straight roads. Really
I was
easy.
actually going to say because they legalized just about everything else.
Right, okay.
Between prostitution and gambling
Guns,
and everything
drugs,
else.
prostitution.
Yeah, there you go,
Right.
Yeah.
Moonshine. You can still run moonshine in Nevada, can't you?
Yeah. I don't know. I'll be out there
Dukes
later
of Hazzard
this
style.
year, so we'll see. If I don't come back, then yes, the answer is yes.
Right.
So they're going for legalization, though. Basically, if people don't know, Google, one of their 20% time projects is, hey, we have a car that can drive itself now. And they've clocked like over 100,000 miles with this thing.
Oh,
unknowingly.
really? 100,000 on normal roads?
On normal roads. So they'll have someone sitting there monitoring
Oh,
it.
right. Okay,
But
that's
the
how they
computer's-
legally...
Yeah, the computer's taken over.
Right.
And I don't know, man. Would you do that? I feel like the whole public is not used to it.
No.
Now, statistically, I think that these cars, even with a 1% software bug defect, right? I bet the human bug defect is 5%, right? Just bad drivers, tired drivers, drunk drivers, all
What
that other
about
stuff.
those rogue cosmic rays, right? You're screwed. Comes
that's
through,
true.
flips a bit.
I don't think that's going to really be the real concern.
Never know. All you need is 1 in a million or something like that. And
Yeah, but that's the
you
thing.
get a
I mean,
bad
the code-
reputation, and yeah,
I'm sure that kind of thing would be so regulated. It would be like airline software, right? I mean, that stuff is
of course.
much
Yep.
more stringently checked. You know, there's like
Yep.
all that pair programming and all that other blah, blah, blah. But I think generally the public would say, "Oh, I'd never do that. I'm much safer driver." And then you compare the two, and
Right, and they're probably not. Yeah,
then end
but-
up rear-ending
Right.
each other. You know? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen the full details of it, so I shouldn't probably comment. But I can't believe it's to a point where it's so refined that it's good enough to go through the streets of New York or something like that. You know,
yeah.
I just can't believe it. You know,
But
you would need
it's a good-
so many sensors tracking people and stuff like that. I mean, you know, it's not just about hitting other cars. It's other objects like people at crossings and doing, you know, God knows what. And,
Hey, just stick a Microsoft Connect on the front, right?
right on the front. Yeah,
There's
that'll
someone
solve all your
dancing over there.
problems.
I'm not going to go over there. That's what the car would think.
Right. Nah. And then you've got to work under all lighting conditions, all conditions of weather, you know, rain, hail, fog, you know. I don't know.
Well, I've said it before about other things, but if there's someone who's going to do it, I would trust Google to do that kind of thing. You know, I think they have the resources behind it at least.
I think they would have the resources, yeah.
I'm not sure what the value behind it is for them. I mean, unless they're trying to just
it's just cool.
spend
They
money.
do it because it's cool, you know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but
Yeah.
pushing for legislation, that's a bigger step, right?
Once again, well, it's probably just because they can. You know,
Yeah, maybe.
probably. Or,
Well, we
and
do have one
then
Google
the
listener, maybe.
Hey, there's big money in automobiles, right? So if they can sell the technology down the track, they can become the world leaders in that, then, well, it might pay off one
Yeah,
day.
I guess
it won't
so.
pay off for 10, 20 years,
Yeah.
but who knows?
That is refreshing,
You know, they probably do it just because they can and it's cool, and that's good enough.
You know, and I love that from the innovation aspect, that horrible word innovation, but like the fact that they're doing it, if it is just because they can and just because
Right.
they have the capability to, that's how you actually make cool stuff, right? When
Yeah, of course.
When you start like, oh, let's do some customer research and let's make sure everybody likes it.
And let's design it by committee. And
Let's sit in some meetings and design, and we're not really designing, but we're getting stuff done perhaps.
And we're playing wank word bingo.
Yep. Yeah,
Yep.
so from that perspective, I could get behind it, but
All right.
I don't really see the value. And like, I can't imagine like driving down the road or having a car drive down the road and being like, "Do you want to buy?" you know, like the Google pop-up words, right?
I was going to say, you get pop-up ads in your car.
Yeah, you get like
as you go
suggestions.
along.
Yeah, so like maybe if they
Would
have
you
all
like
the
a penis enlargement?
yeah, and if they have like, you know, because now you can read a book in the car. Now they can sell you a book too, or they can
exactly,
help you play music, or I don't know.
Yeah. Well. Anyway.
Yeah.
I won't knock it till I've tried it, I guess.
Yeah.
It could work. Who knows? But hey, one thing I noticed.
Yeah.
Maxim have changed their slogan, I think.
Okay.
I don't know. I just noticed it. If you go to the Maxim website and you look at the Maxim logo up in the top left corner, it's Maxim, and underneath is innovation delivered.
Okay, and let me just say here, I'm not totally disappointed about this, but Maxim.com is the young male magazine, which is somewhere between Men's Health and Playboy.
I think I learnt that many years ago, and I just always type in maxim-ic.com now.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, right. Okay, I won't
I'm
type
all
in
distracted,
Maxim.
Dave. I'm like looking at this. I'm like, whoa, wow, these are really like better ways to pick up chicks. Okay,
right. Yeah, I've just always known with Maxim I learnt very early that they're the ones with the weird address. They're the ones with the weird URL, and
Yeah.
Yep.
This is a much more boring website.
Right. Maxim, I don't know. There's some pornographic chips on there.
No, graphic chips. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Yeah, so they
absolutely.
did.
Anyway, is this
their
new?
logo
I
used
don't
to
know.
be?
Can anyone tell me when they changed it? Because it's just hit me. I haven't been to their website for quite some time, so I don't know. It could be 12 months old. Who knows? But innovation delivered.
Why don't you talk about why that's important, though? Because that's the real key.
Maxim had a very bad reputation for a long time for not delivering chips. They would actually release more cool chips than anyone else in the industry. So many that you couldn't keep up with it. They would have a newsletter each month that you would get sent that would have all the new chips for that month, and you couldn't read them all. There were that many. It was crazy. 500 devices a year or something. I don't know. Don't quote me on that, but it was ridiculous, Yeah.
That's crazy.
And they're all very cool chips. Maxim make cool chips, right? But you couldn't buy them. You could get samples. They had the best sample service in the business, right?
Even though we've talked about that before, and you said you don't like samples anymore.
Fantastic service system, which they still have, I think. But you couldn't buy the damn thing. So everyone would design them into their product and go, "Oops, sorry, that's 40 weeks lead time, sir. You're screwed." Yeah, thanks a lot, Maxim. And it was actually a blanket rule at many big companies to simply, you do not use Maxim. End of story. Because
it's still that way
burnt.
today for me. I'm still.
Really?
It's not an official rule for me, but every time I go talk to our purchasing guy for the engineering group, he says, "Nope, don't bother."
Right. Not allowed to design in a Maxim part, huh?
Yeah, I wouldn't touch him right now. I mean, I've mentioned it before. So I met Eric Schlepfer. I hope I pronounced his name right. And he's actually a Maxim product manager. And I said it to him, and he got kind of upset.
They get very defensive about it, I think.
I would too. I mean, that's rough. I mean, it's like you get discounted before anything happens.
Oh, yeah, because they claim, but hey, it's their fault, right? They're the ones who let themselves get that bad rep.
Yeah.
And they didn't fix it. And then the CEO had to come out and write an open letter to everyone.
Yep.
I could probably post a link to that, I think. I think it was back in 2008 saying, we're aware of it and we've put trillions of dollars into making sure that we're fixing it.
Yeah.
And, but hey, mud sticks and tough shit. So, yeah, I'm not surprised that they've had to change their logo to innovation delivered. So, which is the two things that they were known for. This does not surprise me. They were known for innovation, making some of the coolest chips in the market, and they want to be known for delivering that stuff. So,
yeah,
I don't know if they made that up themselves or they paid some PR company to think it up for them. But yeah, it was a pretty obvious slogan, and I think it's good. But will it help them? Maybe in the long run.
We've talked about it on here before, but I think. Maybe we talked about it on here, but the reason behind it though was also the reason they wouldn't deliver is because they were serving like really high volume clients. So it'd be like going and serving. Okay, well, Apple needs chips, so they get all our chips instead of saying, well, they get 90% of our chips, and we're still going to sell 10%. So little guys can still design them in. So you'd have people that were using them.
That's nothing new. Other manufacturers do that too, right? But the fact is, Maxim just overextended themselves on the number of devices, and they just became too popular, and people tried to, there's too many people who wanted them, and they didn't have the design capacity, and they, couldn't figure out how to, weigh up the number of devices versus, all that planning, all that logistics planning stuff. They just sucked at it, and in the world of fabless models, like that is the model. If people don't know, that is the model today. It's not going back, right? And so back in the day, that's right.
if Maxim had their own chip fabs, then you're limited by that. You can start, 20,000 wafers a week, and that's what you get. You get 20,000 wafers, and if Apple needs 20,000 wafers, you're giving them all to Apple or whoever you favor. And that was why the 40-week lead time happened. And now you can say, well, we're just going to farm it out to TSMC or UMC or Global Chip Fab, whatever the hell they're called. And that's just the way it is. I don't think it's coming back. Do you think it's coming back, Dave?
In what, the fab based companies?
Yeah. Like anyone having their own fab, say Touchstone, we mentioned them, right?
It costs too much. So, the big ones are always going to have their fabs because fabs aren't going to shut down. They just keep changing hands, really. So somebody's got to have the fabs. And, the huge company, I thought Maxim did have some of their own fabs.
Yeah, I think they do, but I'm just saying in a fabless world, now you can farm it out, right? Whereas before,
you can farm it out, which is every startup company. Oh, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can't build your own fab. There's no way you can get the investment capital to, $1 billion to buy your own fab.
Right, because the equivalent would be
not going to happen. Forget it.
If you started a circuit board manufacturing company, right, and you went out and tried to buy an SMT machine, you're not going to do that, right? You're going to start by sending to an assembly house. That's a smaller scale, but, you're going to get someone else to assemble it first, get some cash, and start building up. And then eventually it might make sense to make that kind of thing. Or to buy one of those.
Might buy a small machine to start off with, but you wouldn't go and buy a whole factory with 100 machines.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, it's crazy. Anyway, it's interesting to mention Maxim because in my recent teardown of the new Agilent U1272A meter, I noted, if you have a look at the video...
Oh, I should go watch that video right now, Dave.
Absolutely. I need the views. They use a ton of Maxim parts in there. I was quite surprised.
Oh, well, there you go.
Whole bunch of them. Like more than half the chips, I think, are actually Maxim in there. It's fascinating.
That is fascinating.
So they can obviously buy them. But they are Agilent, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
Right. They've got a bit more pull than, Dave
Others.
Jones, who wants his 100 chips, please.
Yeah.
Anyway, will that work for him? I don't know. Innovation delivered.
Yep.
That's just a cool radio. You can just picture that on radio. Maxim, innovation delivered. Sorry, I don't have a radio voice, but
no, neither of us do.
I think it's one of the better slogans, actually.
I've
got to admit.
I'm not a connoisseur of slogans, so...
No? Well, neither am I, but I just kind of like it. Anyway, if anyone knows when they actually changed it, please let me know, because I have no idea. Maybe it's been there for donkey's years and I just haven't noticed.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I think we have time for one more thing. Maybe a chip of the week. But
a chip of the week?
Yes. Before we do that, I forgot our shout-out for the week.
Go for it.
So we wanted to give a shout-out to Dino, Maker Dino. He's been on here once or twice before, but he's still doing his hack a week thing.
Awesome.
And so I want to commend that. He's on his 8th week now. He's been doing some fun stuff. And
fantastic.
We kind of ranted on here about how Hackaday wanted to hire someone so cheap, and then he just started doing it on his own, and he's kind of become the de facto, person they feature now.
Right.
So I told him to invoice them, just send him a bill.
Oh, they actually put his stuff on Hacker Week, do they?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Hackaday.
Yeah, he sends it in every week, and
right.
So
that's brilliant.
I told him, man, you should just send him a bill. So.
Oh, that's great. So, do they actually hire someone?
Does
anyone know?
I haven't heard.
All right. Oh, boy.
Yeah, if people have heard, definitely leave it in the comments or give us a tweet or something. That'd be cool to know. But
excellent.
So, chip of the
Just
week.
quickly, before we do chip of the week.
Oh, okay, go.
I outed somebody.
Oh, no.
It was excellent. There was a big full-page ad in one of the papers here in Australia, big, expensive ad about solar panels.
Oh, I did see
and
this.
how
Okay.
our government sponsored this huge program to, they would basically pay for installing your solar panels, right? Uh-huh. And the scheme was so popular that they had to can it. It just, they just got inundated. And now they're trying to cancel all the feed-in tariffs, which people were going to get, a whole bunch of money, people who installed these things, for feeding energy back into the grid, which was great. But, it was a ridiculous rate. It was like 5 times the rate that you would buy power for. So if you fed the same energy back into the grid, you get paid 5 times more.
Right, so the payback looked a lot better for the
payback was incredible. It was an absolute no-brainer to get these solar panels. Anyway, they tried to cancel all these contracts with people who installed, with all the people who installed them. And there's this there's this campaign mob in Australia here, a solar energy group, and they took out this full-page ad in the paper saying, there's 120,000 people in this state who you're screwing over with this thing. And I thought, shit, 120,000 panels. Have they really installed that many?
Yeah.
On 120,000 homes? And I thought, I'll check on this. So I went and checked, and sure enough, the figure's bullshit. Right? It's, full-page ad, 120,000 people, you've screwed them over. And it's not. It's actually 25,000 people. The figure they used was for all of Australia. Oops. Idiots.
Oh yeah.
So, anyway, I thought that was absolutely hilarious, and I called them on it, and, well, they're just pulling their head in and hiding now, so they won't respond. Anyway, you can't believe numbers.
So...
What are there? Lies, damn lies, and stats. Is that the
saying?
Something
like that, yeah.
Right, yeah. No, anyway. God, you would think if you take out a full-page ad, which costs a buttload of money, and you're putting your ass on the line by claiming some huge figure, you'd at least get it right. So,
right.
And this is the solar energy mob of Australia. It's the, some group, and you would think that would be their bread and butter figure, right? You would think that would be the one figure that they would know was how many solar panels have been installed.
Yeah.
And I found the government document which told me exactly how many, right down to the last digit. They were wrong. They used the wrong figure. Oops. Anyway, end of story. I thought that was funny. Can't trust anyone. Don't trust figures. Always check.
I agree with that, yeah.
Yep.
So, chip of the week. What do we got?
Chip of the week. Is this my one, or have you got one?
No, this is yours. This is a carryover from... we've talked about this twice now, I think.
Cool. And it's the LT3080 is the chip of the week. Congratulations. Yay!
Yeah.
I actually talked about the LT3085 on my very first blog, I think.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So it's been out a while, but this is the upgraded version which goes to an amp. So it's basically an LDO. It's a low dropout voltage regulator. Nothing fancy there, but it goes down to 0 volts. It's not your traditional LDO. And really, you've got to... It's basically simply an op-amp with a current source in it set by a single resistor. And that's the other good thing, is that you set the output voltage with a single resistor. You don't need the traditional resistor divider on the output.
So you just put it to ground. Yeah.
And you just put it to ground. And it's got a... It has an internal constant current source which drives the constant current through that resistor, which then generates a reference voltage, and that's how it... how it generates the thing. Anyway, you can look at the internal block diagram too. It's very simple, and it's a very useful part. And what I've found is that because the internal constant current source is so small, it's only 10 microamps, right? You can actually override that and feed in onto the set pin. You can actually feed a voltage directly onto the set pin.
Oh, so you can just use it as a programming
You can just use it as a
1 amp.
digitally programmable. So if you need a programmable voltage from your PIC chip or something like that, all you got to do is have your pulse width modulation output that sets a voltage, buffer it, drive it directly into the set pin, and you can get a digitally programmable voltage out of this thing.
Up to an amp, right?
Up to an amp, yep.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
And it's available in various packages, TO220, SOT223, which is one of my favourites, and other packages. And you can get a half-amp version, which is the LT3085 as well. So they're basically the same chip.
That seems like a good tool belt kind of
it's a nice little building block chip.
Yeah,
I really like it. It's a little bit on the expensive side. It's I think it's $1.50 or something in 100 quantity, but... it's not the cheapest out there, but it's really versatile, and I like it.
Well, we were talking about the thing Maxim can't get away from, LT can't get away from the pricier side of the chips, but...
Right, they are LTR pricier.
Yeah.
If you want cheap chips, you don't go to... They're not your first choice, so...
No, definitely.
Unfortunately.
Definitely not. But they make some cool ones, too. So, I mean, they're our second chip of the week, and they've been on twice now, so...
Yep. Also, I've developed a circuit where you can actually... which I'll eventually reveal, that you can develop a digitally programmable constant current as well.
Oh, nice.
And and you can use this as a constant current generator as well. So it's a really neat chip, and they've got lots of example apps in the data sheet, and it's really cool.
I love data sheet. We had a high school student shadowing us this week in my group at work.
Right.
And I was showing him data sheets today because he was just real fresh to the scene and everything. Yeah. And I just said to him, I turned to him, I said, I love data sheets. I love the application circuits and data sheets. You could almost teach yourself all of electronics with just data sheets.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, so great.
I
loved it.
It's brilliant.
So
check it out, the LT3080.
Yes. I think, is it true? Is it up? Is our amp hour up, Dave?
No, come on. We haven't run out of capacity, surely.
Oh, I think we have. Unless my time is off.
What the hell did we rant on about today? That took up an hour.
I can run through the list if you'd like.
Oh, right. Okay. That's right. They're here and they're numbered.
Yeah. Let's see.
17 items? Give me a break.
I know. A lot of chips today. A lot of chips and our usual corporate finance making fun of bean counters and complaining about stuff. And you called out that new project, Maximite, which is cool.
Yep.
And
it's all good.
So we want
there's a thing I wanted to tack on to the end of that, but I won't this week. Because I just wanted to... What opinions do you have of the semiconductor companies out there? Maybe we can get a list for next week. Like, LT, right?
Yeah.
Where they have a stigma of being high cost. Maxim, you can't get the bastards, right?
National, they're dead.
What other companies out there do you think have a rep for something? Tell us.
That's a good idea. So if people could leave that in the comments, and then also if you remember we mentioned the guy that had 88 fluke meters. So if you can beat that, or even if you want to just show it up, you can go on the EEV blog forum. I'll
be surprised if anyone can beat that.
Oh God, yeah. And was there anything else? I don't know if there was. I don't know. Oh, if you know flea markets around the country, around the U.S. or elsewhere, let us know about those too, because that'd be great to get a list going of flea markets for people to go buy other people's electronic crap
instead of just dumping it.
Yeah, exactly. Because
it usually is junk.
Yeah,
junk with a Q. That's how you pronounce fancy junk.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well,
thanks for joining us.
We'll talk to you guys next week.
Bye.
Five Arduino 555 Arduino.
None of that triple nickel rubbish. That's all we're going to talk about today.
555 Arduino.
Kill that puppy. See if we care.
Please don't kill puppies.
Okay.